Hey y'all, we are back with another Mighty Multimedia Reviews. Let's jump into this. I don't have much more to say. Our first review is called Leave the World Behind. It's a new movie. I watched it on Netflix. It's a good cast for the most part, a lot of famous people. And then, so Julia Roberts, Michelle Lee, Ethan Hawke, I guess, so you probably want some of these names, right? And if you haven't seen it, or if you're at least trying to imagine it in your head, so a good cast. It starts off like any solid movie on a family vacation. It'll be a little hyperbolic, but I think it's a great idea to start off a movie on a family vacation, except like a horror, thriller, suspense, something like that, which is along the lines of this movie. And then, so that's Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke's family is they're the ones at the Airbnb. And then basically most people's worst nightmare happens where the owners of the Airbnb come and crash your vacation. I'm sure people have nightmares about that. I would not enjoy that either. But that's how this movie gets started. That's how all the plots and stuff start breaking out. And the big reason that happens is because there's a blackout. And the blackout's pretty creepy. They play a lot with this. We'll get talking about that. So I thought about this a little bit and the best way to go about explaining. But I think the best way is just to run through what happens. But really the focus of this is showing how tension is built really well, how it goes from small to bigger to bigger to bigger to crazy, right? So just kind of gonna run through plot points that happen, right? So an oil tanker runs around on a beach. Random people show up. It turns out to be the owners of the Airbnb. There's no cell service. They turn on the TV. There's an alert for an emergency. There's a blackout and they find some notifications, get some information that it's hackers. There's a bunch of deer in the backyard, but only the little girl sees it. There's no one on the roads anywhere. There's a random frantic lady on the road when Ethan Hawke goes by himself to go find something. She's speaking Spanish, and it's just crazy. What the heck's going on? There's a creepy cabin in the woods behind the house. Marshall Ali's looking at the neighbors, and he finds a dead body on the beach, and then there's plane debris screwed around the beach, and then there's another plane that's coming crashing down, and he has to run away, and it crashes behind him. And then there's a random ear-bleeding noise that comes and affects everyone, and they're just like, what the heck's going on? There's flyers that are dropped in a different language. I think it either turned out to be Chinese or Korean, and it says "Death to America." There's a bunch of self-driving cars that are flying themselves on the road and crashing into each other and blocking all of the roads, so they can't do anything whatsoever. And Michelle Lee tells a story about how his powerful friend, because he's like this broker or something, is like really scared. There's flamingos drop into a pool in Long Island. What's going on? And then his son's teeth starts falling out, and then blah 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 things happen. So it's just, it seems like a bunch of randomly strewn things together, and kind of for the most part it is, but it does build tension really well. It's just things are happening, what's going on. Some of them build on each other, some of them don't, some of them add to the puzzle, but again, some of them don't. Some of them are a little bit of red herrings or just kind of unexplainable, don't know what's going on. But in general, I say this movie is pretty successful at building suspense. It smash cuts between all of these different ideas really hard. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some of them are too close together. I think they needed to let some scenes breathe a little bit more. And I think there's quite a few where different characters go off doing different things, and they're just cutting back between them really fast. I think it would have been better if you breathe them out a little bit more. I'm not the hugest fan of Quentin Tarantino, but one thing Quentin Tarantino does right is allowing a scene to breathe. Sometimes he allows the scene to breathe a little bit too much, but he is not afraid of just focusing on these characters in this room, allowing them to talk things out, to explain what's going on, for the actors to really stretch their chops and everything like that. If you have too many smash cuts to different things. You get a little disoriented. It can be on purpose, but it can piss you off a little bit. You just want to see what's going on. Again, it can be used to good effect, but my motif for the most part is letting scenes breathe. So the next thing I wanted to do is talk about a few things that just don't make sense. And when you're having a movie to this effect, where you're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, kind of seeing what sticks, you're gonna get some things that are a little shaky. Most of these are character behaviors, and maybe not make sense, but just weird. And so it's either don't make sense or weird. Just wanted to run through some of them. So whatever, they go on the TV and it's blaring a national emergency or whatever, right? And it's a literary device, right? Because it's at night, everyone's totally asleep, and it's still blaring really loud, and then it finally goes to static. So it's like, oh my God, it got even crazy. The cell towers got knocked out, something, I don't know, blah, blah, whatever. But why the heck would you leave the TV on? Like, you're not gonna be able to sleep. It was so loud. And I think everyone was out of the way, but it was flashing lights. You don't want that, I think, if you're dealing with this creepy situation to attract anyone in that regard. And also just, I don't think you'd be able to sleep. It was really, really loud. That didn't make any sense to me. When it was more dramatic effect, because that was the other one. The first one was just a literary device. I get it. But this was also just a dramatic effect. Mahershala Ali was going on the beach to his neighbors, and he was kind of like confused with it, and he was digging something up. He was like, what is this? I don't know. And it turned out to be a dead body. But then he looks up, and there's just bodies and parts of planes and bags and everything strewn over the entire beach. How the heck did you not see that? Like, you're just looking down the entire time? There's no way. He went over the dune, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So that was just bad, I think. And then, so the pairing, Mahershala Ali and Julia Roberts is paired up, and then Ethan Hawke and Mahershala Ali's daughter is paired up for a while, and they're doing stuff. That's weird. Because Ethan Hawke and Julia Roberts are husband and wife, and the other ones are father and daughter. I know they're kind of intermingling, and you're getting some separation and between characters and seeing the interesting components of mixing characters that aren't normally mixed, but it's totally optional at this point. When you do that, I think it needs to be more not their choice, more forced. It's, it doesn't have to be, you're in a cave and the cave and happens and they're split, although that works. But in a lot of other ways, it needs to be, again, not their choice. It needs to be that they were thrown into this situation and they're just dealing with what happens. And you get a little bit more at the end of the movie, but in this, Julia Roberts just decides to go with Mahershala Ali, and they almost like kiss, but she's married and he thinks he's pretty sure his wife's dead. But like, why, Julia Roberts, why are you putting yourself in that position? And then Ethan Hawke is hitting a vape pen and getting high, or dab pen and getting high with the daughter, and then the daughter comes back to her dad, and she's like, I think that Ethan Hawke wants to have sex with me. And like, yeah, but you kind of flirting with him the whole time and all this, and like, why were you at a fire getting high with him? Like, that was weird. When you're in your family at these crazy times, you're going to stick with your family. I don't think that was very rational. And the last one, I think this was supposed to be more forcing some characters' relationships, because this was Mahershala Ali and Ethan Hawke went to Kevin Bacon's house to go figure out, because the son's teeth was falling out, he was sick, so they had to figure something out, and Julia Roberts and the daughter had to go find the younger daughter, so that was split up. But Mahershala Ali was like, I'll find you, I'll be right back with whatever. And it was like, no, dude, just take your daughter. Again, just weird, not rational thoughts. And you can make an argument for it just being a crazy time. What is this? What's going on? There's unexplainable things, really scary stuff, and they're just making bad decisions. But I don't know, family sticks together at least more than sticking together with random people that you've never met, and they split up too much. It needed to be more forced, because it was good when we got the situations and the back and forth between the characters that don't normally talk to each other, but getting there was tough. A few kind of wrap up thoughts. For the most part, the daughter is unbearable. She's supposed to be, so I guess the actress does a good job, but just like, I just wanted her to go away. I wasn't a fan of Julia Roberts' whole sappy speech about how she's a marketer, so she knows how selfish people are. Blah, blah, kind of whining. Trying to do something. Get out of here. Kevin Bacon played a really good, crazy survivalist guy. I don't know what it is about him, but he definitely sold me on that one. And then how it turns out, it's just, they kind of hint at this the whole time, and it seems like it's built to this for most of the movie. But then some things get thrown in where you're like, is it more? I don't know exactly what's going on. Maybe there's some like supernatural, magical thing. But it just turns out to be a cyber attack and by another country. And they're trying to take down America. And this is confirmed when they look over at New York City and it's getting bombed and such. Whatever. That's fine. That makes sense, I suppose. It was leaning towards that way the whole time. I thought it was maybe going to take a switch at some point, and it didn't. So that was a little bit of a letdown. I don't know. I was just kind of waiting for that. That was probably more of my expectations. And then the very last scene, it ends on it. I absolutely love the ending. Cannot stress this. Just the very not even ending, just the denouement is more what it is. The little girl just gets sick of everything going on. You kind of think she's gonna do some crazy things. She's been dealing with seeing these deer and all this stuff going on, and she's getting kind of whack, and she's at like the existential dread and all of this. But she's just like, I'm done with this. I'm gonna go find some better food or whatever. So she just walks to the neighbors. She gets the food. She's snacking out. That's fine. Whatever. I don't know. She freaks the whole other family out. They don't know where she is. She just leaves. But then it's a really rich person's family. So she goes down and she opens this vault, and it turns out they're another survivalist, and they have this total decked out thing with food and television, electricity, and anything you could ever want, plants to grow more food, and just, a survivalist paradise if you're in this situation. And then the best part, she turns and there's this giant movie collection. Yeah. Oh yeah. Love that. Absolutely loved it. Obviously I do this collection just for the fun of it in many ways, and the collecting aspect of it. But I gotta say, I also think that I know that once stuff goes wrong, once the bottom drops out, whatever you want to say, I'm gonna like this. This is gonna be very, very useful once the nuclear holocaust comes, or the zombie apocalypse, or whatever's going on, another pandemic, bigger pandemic, whatever it is. This is gonna be super useful, and I'm gonna be glad that I had it, because there's gonna be no Netflix or whatever, and the only way to watch stuff is gonna be this and a DVD player, and no one else is gonna have it because no one gets that type of hard copy anymore. So I'm not like a crazy survivalist, but this is some reason I could probably restart humanity with most of these movies, and I got a book collection, a comic book collection. I think I could probably restart humanity, and most of that. Mostly joking, but also kind of not. The whole thing with the girl, was that she was watching Friends, and she was on the last episode when this blackout happened, and she didn't know how it ended. So she's freaking out, whining about that the whole time. Finally, at the movie collection, she went to it, and she pulled out the Friends, and she popped in and watched, amid all this craziness, the last episode of Friends. Great comfort show. So yeah, that's how it ended, and it was interesting. I don't want to say good, I don't think, but some of it was solid, some of it needed some work. Overall, if you're just looking for something interesting, little minds, messing around, it's a good watch.